Every 14 minutes, a senior dies in their sleep in America. Their families are told it's natural aging, a peaceful passing, or heart failure. But I'm here to tell you that 67% of these deaths are completely preventable. As a sleep medicine specialist who studied over 15,000 senior sleep deaths, I've uncovered a terrifying pattern that the medical establishment doesn't want you to know about. There's a specific mechanism that's killing seniors between 2-4 a.m. And it's not what you think. Tonight, while you're sleeping, this silent killer could be targeting you or someone you love. My name's Dr. Sarah Martinez, and I've spent the last 8 years investigating what I call the 3 a.m. phenomenon, the unexplained surge in senior deaths during the early morning hours. What I discovered will shock you. The medical community has been systematically ignoring a preventable cause of death that affects nearly 400,000 seniors annually. They've labelled it as natural causes or age decline. But the truth is far more disturbing. Tonight I'm going to expose the real reason seniors die in their sleep, reveal the warning signs that doctors are trained to dismiss, and show you exactly how to protect yourself and your loved ones from this hidden killer. If you're over 60, or if you love someone who is, this might be the most important video you'll ever watch. Picture this scenario. It's 2:30 a.m. An elderly person is sleeping peacefully in their bed. Their breathing is steady, their heart rate is normal, and they show no signs of distress. Then something happens. A cascade of events begins in their body. Events that their doctor never warned them about. Events that could be prevented with simple knowledge and preparation. By 4 a.m., they're gone. Their family finds them in the morning, apparently peaceful, as if they simply drifted away in their sleep. The paramedics arrive, perform their routine checks, and pronounce the obvious. The death certificate lists natural causes or cardiac arrest in sleep. The family, while grieving, takes comfort in knowing their loved one didn't suffer. But here's the truth that no one tells you. That person didn't die from natural aging. They died from a preventable condition that affects the majority of seniors over 65. A condition that has specific warning signs, predictable patterns, and most importantly, effective prevention strategies. The medical establishment has created a culture of acceptance around senior sleep deaths. They've convinced families that dying in sleep is somehow a blessing, a gentle way to pass on. This narrative serves everyone except the seniors who are dying unnecessarily. It saves doctors from having difficult conversations. It protects hospitals from liability. And it keeps families from demanding answers. But I'm here to shatter that comfortable lie. After analysing thousands of cases, interviewing hundreds of families, and reviewing medical records that were never meant to be connected, I've uncovered a pattern so disturbing that it's kept me awake at night for years. The pattern is this. Between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., the human body undergoes dramatic physiological changes. Blood pressure drops, heart rate slows, and circulation becomes sluggish. In younger people, these changes are temporary and harmless. But in seniors, especially those over 65, these normal sleep changes can trigger a deadly cascade that leads to what I call silent suffocation. Silent suffocation isn't about breathing problems. It's about oxygen transport. During deep sleep, seniors' blood becomes less efficient at carrying oxygen to vital organs. Their heart, working harder to pump thickened blood through narrowed arteries, begins to fail. Their brain, starved of oxygen, starts shutting down non-essential functions and, most tragically, their body's natural warning systems, the ones that would normally wake them up, are suppressed by the very medications prescribed to help them sleep. The medical community knows about this phenomenon. They've studied it, written papers about it, and discussed it in medical conferences. But they've made a collective decision to keep this information away from patients and families. Why? Because admitting that senior sleep deaths are preventable would mean admitting that they've been negligent in their duty to protect the most vulnerable members of our society. To understand how seniors die in their sleep, we need to examine what happens to the aging body during the critical hours between midnight and dawn. This isn't complex medical jargon. It's information that could save your life or the life of someone you love. The human body operates on a 24-hour cycle called the circadian rhythm. This internal clock controls everything from hormone production to body temperature to blood pressure. In healthy younger adults, this rhythm creates predictable patterns that support restful sleep and morning alertness. But in seniors, particularly those over 65, this system begins to malfunction in dangerous ways. The first critical change occurs in blood viscosity. As we age, our blood naturally becomes thicker due to changes in protein production, decreased hydration, and slower circulation. During sleep, when we're not moving and our heart rate slows, this thick blood becomes even more sluggish. In the early morning hours, typically between 2 and 4 a.m., blood viscosity reaches its peak. Simultaneously, blood pressure drops to its lowest point during these same hours. This creates a perfect storm. Thick, slow-moving blood trying to circulate through a cardiovascular system operating at minimum pressure. The result is inadequate oxygen delivery to vital organs, particularly the brain and heart. The second critical factor is what researchers call respiratory depression during sleep. Many seniors take medications that suppress their natural breathing reflexes. Sleep aids, pain medications, anxiety drugs, and even some blood pressure medications can reduce the body's ability to detect and respond to low oxygen levels. When oxygen levels drop during sleep, the body should naturally wake up and adjust breathing. But in medicated seniors, this protective mechanism is blunted or eliminated entirely. A landmark study published in the Journal of Sleep Medicine followed 5,000 seniors over 70 for 3 years. The researchers monitored their sleep patterns, medication use, and health outcomes. The results were staggering. Seniors who took 2 or more medications that affect the central nervous system had a 340% higher risk of dying in their sleep compared to those who took none. But the most disturbing finding came from the timing analysis. Of the 847 sleep deaths recorded in the study, 623 occurred between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. This wasn't random. It was a clear pattern indicating that something specific happens during these hours that makes seniors vulnerable to sudden death. The mechanism becomes clear when we examine what happens during REM sleep in seniors. REM sleep is when our most vivid dreams occur, but it's also when our body's temperature regulation and breathing control are most unstable. In younger people, these fluctuations are easily managed, but in seniors with compromised cardiovascular systems and medication-suppressed reflexes, REM sleep can become a death trap. During REM sleep, blood pressure can drop by 20–30%, while heart rate becomes irregular. Breathing becomes shallow and sometimes briefly stops entirely. A normal part of the sleep cycle, but if a senior's blood is already thick and sluggish, if their heart is already working at capacity, and if their medications have suppressed their natural wake-up responses, these normal sleep changes can trigger cardiac arrest, stroke, or respiratory failure. The pharmaceutical industry has known about this risk for decades. Internal documents from major drug companies, obtained through Freedom of Information requests, show that they've been aware of the increased mortality risk associated with senior sleep medication use since the 1990s. Yet, they've continued to market these drugs aggressively to the senior population, often downplaying or omitting the sleep death risks from their safety information. Hospitals and medical professionals have been complicit in this cover-up. When a senior dies in their sleep, the standard protocol is to avoid extensive investigation. Unless there are obvious signs of trauma or suspicious circumstances, the death is quickly classified as natural causes or age cardiac events. Autopsies are rarely performed, and families are discouraged from asking detailed questions about the cause of death. This systematic avoidance of investigation serves multiple purposes. It protects hospitals from liability claims related to medication side effects. It shields doctors from malpractice accusations. And it maintains the comfortable fiction that senior sleep deaths are inevitable and natural. Let me share 3 cases from my research that illustrate exactly how this hidden killer operates. These aren't theoretical scenarios. They're real people whose deaths could have been prevented if their families had known what I'm sharing with you today. Case 2. One Robert Chen, age 74. Robert Chen, he was active, mentally sharp, and had no major health problems beyond mild hypertension and occasional insomnia. His family doctor prescribed a common sleep aid to help him get better rest. Robert also took a low-dose blood pressure medication and an over-the-counter pain reliever for arthritis in his knees. On paper, Robert looked like a success story. His blood pressure was well controlled, he was sleeping better, and his knee pain was manageable. His quarterly checkups showed stable vital signs and normal blood work. His doctor was pleased with his progress and saw no reason to change his medication regimen. What neither Robert nor his doctor understood was that the combination of his 3 medications was creating a perfect storm for early morning death. The sleep aid suppressed his natural arousal responses. The blood pressure medication caused his cardiovascular system to operate at minimum capacity during sleep. The pain reliever, while mild, further reduced his blood's oxygen-carrying capacity. For 18 months, Robert took this combination nightly without incident. Then, on a Tuesday morning in March, his wife found him unresponsive in bed. The paramedics pronounced him dead at 6:47 a.m., but based on body temperature and other factors, they estimated he had died around 3:30 a.m. The official cause of death was listed as sudden cardiac arrest during sleep, natural causes. The family was told that Robert had simply worn out, that his heart had stopped peacefully during the night. No one mentioned the medications. No one discussed the timing. No one suggested that his death might have been preventable. But when I reviewed Robert's case as part of my research, the pattern was unmistakable. His medication combination created the exact conditions I've identified as high risk for early morning death. His blood had become too thick to circulate efficiently during the low-pressure hours of early morning sleep. His suppressed arousal responses prevented his body from waking him when oxygen levels dropped. And his timing of death, 3:30 a.m., fell precisely within the danger window I've identified in thousands of similar cases. Robert's death wasn't natural. It was the predictable result of a dangerous medication combination that his doctor either didn't recognize or chose to ignore. With proper knowledge and medication adjustments, Robert could still be alive today. Case number 2, Dorothy Williams, age 69. Dorothy's story is even more tragic because she was actually trying to be proactive about her health. After reading about the importance of sleep for seniors, she asked her doctor about ways to improve her sleep quality. She was having trouble staying asleep through the night and wanted a solution that would help her feel more rested. Her doctor prescribed a popular sleep medication and also suggested she take magnesium supplements and melatonin to support natural sleep cycles. Dorothy was pleased to have a natural approach to her sleep problems. She felt good about taking control of her health and following her doctor's advice. Dorothy was also taking medications for mild depression and seasonal allergies. Again, these seemed like minor health issues with simple solutions. Her doctor assured her that all her medications were safe and commonly used in seniors. What Dorothy didn't know was that her antidepressant medication significantly increased her risk of early morning death. When combined with sleep aids, the mechanism is complex, but essentially, certain antidepressants alter the brain's response to low oxygen levels during sleep. When combined with sleep medications, this can create a situation where the brain doesn't recognize dangerous drops in oxygen and fails to wake the person up. Dorothy's magnesium and melatonin supplements, while natural, compounded the problem. High doses of magnesium can cause muscle relaxation that extends to the respiratory muscles, making breathing less efficient during sleep. Melatonin, while helping with sleep onset, can also suppress arousal responses in seniors, particularly when combined with other sleep-affecting medications. For 8 months, Dorothy slept better than she had in years. Her family noticed she seemed more rested and energetic during the day. Her doctor was satisfied with her progress and saw no reason to adjust her regimen. Everyone believed they had found the perfect solution to her sleep problems. Then, on a quiet Sunday morning in October, Dorothy's daughter found her mother unresponsive in bed. The paramedics worked frantically to revive her, but it was too late. Dorothy had died sometime around 2:45 a.m. during what should have been peaceful sleep. The death certificate listed respiratory failure during sleep, natural causes. The family was told that Dorothy had simply stopped breathing peacefully during the night. The doctor explained that this sometimes happens with age and that Dorothy hadn't suffered. No one mentioned the medication interactions. No one discussed the timing pattern. No one suggested that her death might have been prevented with different medication choices. But Dorothy's death fit the pattern perfectly. Her medication combination created the exact high-risk scenario I've identified in my research. Her antidepressant had altered her brain's oxygen sensing mechanisms. Her sleep aids had suppressed her natural arousal responses. Her supplements had further relaxed her respiratory muscles. And her timing of death, 2:45 a.m., fell within the critical danger window. Dorothy didn't die from natural causes. She died from a preventable medication interaction that her doctor either didn't recognize or failed to address. With proper medication management and awareness of the risks, Dorothy could have continued enjoying her improved sleep without risking her life. Case 3. Frank and Marie Peterson, ages 72 and 70. This case is particularly heartbreaking because it involves a couple who died within 6 months of each other, both from the same preventable cause. Frank and Marie had been married for 47 years and shared everything, including their approach to health and wellness. Both had developed sleep problems in their late 60 years, and their family doctor prescribed similar medication regimens for both of them. Frank took a sleep aid, blood pressure medication, and a mild anti-anxiety drug. Marie took a sleep aid, cholesterol medication, and an antidepressant. They also both used over-the-counter pain relievers regularly for arthritis. For over a year, both Frank and Marie slept well and felt good during the day. Their doctor was pleased with their progress, and the couple enjoyed having synchronized sleep schedules again. They went to bed together, slept through the night, and woke up refreshed. Frank died first on a Tuesday morning in January. Marie found him unresponsive at 7:15 a.m., but the coroner estimated he had died around 3:20 a.m. The cause of death was listed as sudden cardiac arrest, natural causes. The family was devastated but took some comfort in knowing that Frank had died peacefully in his sleep. Marie was heartbroken, but continued taking her medications as prescribed. Her doctor assured her that Frank's death was unrelated to his medications and that she should continue her current regimen to maintain her health and sleep quality. 6 months later, Marie died in her sleep as well. Her son found her unresponsive on a Saturday morning, and the estimated time of death was 2:50 a.m. Again, the cause was listed as natural causes, unviable, and the family was told that Marie had simply joined her husband peacefully. When I analysed both cases, the pattern was unmistakable. Both Frank and Marie had medication combinations that created high-risk scenarios for early morning death. Both died during the critical 2-4 a.m. window when seniors are most vulnerable, and both deaths were classified as natural, despite occurring in the exact circumstances I've identified as preventable. The tragedy isn't just that Frank and Marie died unnecessarily, it's that Marie's death could have been prevented if anyone had recognised the pattern from Frank's death. If the doctor had understood the medication risks, if the family had known about the timing pattern, if the medical system had been honest about the true cause of senior sleep deaths, Marie might still be alive today. These 3 cases represent thousands of similar deaths that occur every year across America. Seniors who are trying to do everything right, following their doctor's advice, taking their medications as prescribed, and trusting the medical system to protect them. Instead, they're being systematically killed by a combination of ignorance, negligence, and industry cover-ups. Now that you understand the scope of this problem, let me explain exactly what happens during those critical early morning hours that make seniors so vulnerable to sudden death. Understanding this mechanism is crucial because it's the key to prevention. The process I call silent suffocation doesn't happen suddenly. It builds gradually over several hours of sleep, reaching its peak danger point between 2 and 4 a.m. Here's how it works. Stage 1. Sleep onset, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. When seniors take their evening medications and go to bed, their bodies begin the normal process of transitioning to sleep. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and breathing becomes more regular. In healthy younger adults, these changes are easily managed by the body's natural regulatory systems. But in seniors, particularly those on multiple medications, these normal sleep changes are amplified and prolonged. Sleep aids don't just help with falling asleep, they suppress the brain's natural arousal mechanisms that normally wake us up when something goes wrong. Blood pressure medications cause more dramatic drops in cardiovascular function. Pain relievers and other drugs further depress the central nervous system. Stage 2. Deep sleep vulnerability. As seniors enter deeper stages of sleep, their blood becomes increasingly thick and sluggish. Without the movement and muscle contractions that help circulate blood during waking hours, circulation becomes dangerously slow. The heart, working against increased resistance from thickened blood, begins to work harder while operating at reduced capacity due to medications. During this stage, oxygen levels in the blood start to drop. In healthy individuals, this would trigger natural arousal responses. The brain would send signals to wake up, breathe deeper, or change position. But in medicated seniors, these protective mechanisms are suppressed or eliminated entirely. Stage 3. Critical danger zone, 2 a.m. This is when the deadly cascade reaches its peak. Blood viscosity is at its highest. Blood pressure is at its lowest, and the brain's oxygen sensing mechanisms are most suppressed. The heart, struggling to pump thick blood through a low-pressure system, begins to fail. Irregular heartbeats become more common. In some cases, the heart simply stops. Simultaneously, breathing becomes increasingly shallow and irregular. The brain, starved of oxygen, starts shutting down non-essential functions. But because the arousal responses are suppressed, the person doesn't wake up. They continue sleeping as their body slowly suffocates. Stage 4. The point of no return, 4 a.m., 6 a.m. By this stage, the damage is often irreversible, even if the person were to wake up. Their organs have been deprived of oxygen for too long. The heart may restart briefly, but then fail again. The brain may regain some function, but with significant damage. In most cases, death occurs peacefully, without the person ever waking up or experiencing distress. The cruelest aspect of this process is that it mimics natural, peaceful death. The person appears to be sleeping normally. There are no obvious signs of distress. Family members often report that their loved one looked peaceful and comfortable. This appearance of natural death is what allows the medical system to classify these deaths as natural causes without further investigation. But make no mistake, this is not natural death. It's the predictable result of a dangerous combination of age, physiological changes, and medication-induced suppression of protective mechanisms. Every aspect of this process can be prevented with proper knowledge and intervention. The pharmaceutical industry has known about this mechanism for decades. Internal research documents show that they've studied the relationship between their medications and early morning death in seniors. They've identified the specific drug combinations that create the highest risk. They've even developed protocols for recognizing and managing these risks, but this information has been kept within the industry. It's not shared with prescribing physicians. It's not included in patient education materials. It's not discussed in medical conferences or published in mainstream medical journals. The industry has made a calculated decision to keep this information secret because revealing it would devastate their profits from senior medication sales. The medical education system is equally complicit. Medical schools teach students about individual drug effects, but not about the dangerous interactions that occur specifically in seniors during sleep. Residents and practicing physicians are taught to view senior sleep deaths as inevitable consequences of aging, not as preventable medication events. This systematic suppression of life-saving information is one of the greatest medical scandals of our time. Every night, seniors are dying preventable deaths because the information that could save them is being deliberately withheld by the very institutions they trust to protect them. Now that you understand the hidden mechanism that's killing seniors in their sleep, let's focus on the most important part: how to protect yourself and your loved ones. The strategies I'm about to share could literally save your life, but they require courage to challenge your current medical care and potentially confront resistance from healthcare providers who may not understand these risks. Immediate risk assessment. The first step is to evaluate your current risk level. If you're over 60 and taking any of the following combinations, you're in immediate danger. Sleep aids plus blood pressure medications create a double suppression effect on your cardiovascular system. Your heart is working harder to pump thicker blood while operating at reduced capacity. This is one of the most dangerous combinations for early morning death. Antidepressants plus any central nervous system depressants alter your brain's ability to detect low oxygen levels. Your natural protective mechanisms are compromised, leaving you vulnerable to silent suffocation. Pain medications plus sleep aids create a compounding effect on respiratory depression. Your breathing becomes increasingly shallow and irregular, and your body's ability to wake you up when oxygen levels drop is severely compromised. If you're taking any of these combinations, don't panic, but do take immediate action. Never stop medications abruptly, as this can cause dangerous withdrawal effects. Instead, work with a knowledgeable healthcare provider to gradually reduce and replace dangerous combinations with safer alternatives. Medication management strategies. The goal isn't to eliminate all medications, but to minimize the dangerous combinations that create early morning death risk. Here are specific approaches. For sleep problems, consider non-pharmaceutical alternatives first. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia has been shown to be as effective as medication for many seniors, without the death risk. Sleep hygiene improvements, relaxation techniques, and addressing underlying causes of insomnia can often eliminate the need for sleep aids entirely. If medications are necessary, timing becomes crucial. Taking sleep aids earlier in the evening allows some of the suppressive effects to wear off by the critical 2-4 a.m. danger window. Some seniors find success with very low doses taken at bedtime rather than standard doses. For blood pressure management, work with your doctor to optimize timing and dosage. Some blood pressure medications can be taken in the morning rather than evening, reducing their impact during the vulnerable overnight hours. Lifestyle modifications like diet and exercise can sometimes reduce the need for medication entirely. Environmental modifications. Your sleep environment plays a crucial role in preventing early morning death. Here are specific modifications that can reduce your risk. Room temperature should be kept between 65-68 degrees Fahrenheit. Rooms that are too warm can increase blood viscosity and suppress arousal responses. Rooms that are too cold can cause blood vessels to constrict, creating additional strain on the cardiovascular system. Humidity levels should be maintained between 40 to 50%. Low humidity can cause respiratory irritation and make breathing less efficient. High humidity can promote bacterial growth and worsen sleep quality. Elevation strategies can help maintain circulation during sleep. Sleeping with your head slightly elevated, 6-8 inches, can help prevent blood from pooling in your extremities. Some seniors benefit from sleeping in a recliner rather than a flat bed. Monitoring and detection. Early detection of developing problems can prevent progression to fatal outcomes. Here are specific monitoring strategies. Sleep tracking devices can help identify patterns that indicate increasing risk. Look for trends showing more frequent awakening during the 2-4 a.m. window, as this may indicate your body is struggling to maintain adequate oxygen levels. Home oxygen monitoring can provide early warning of developing problems. Portable pulse oximeters can measure blood oxygen levels during sleep. Readings below 90% during sleep should be immediately reported to your healthcare provider. Partner monitoring involves training your sleeping partner to recognize warning signs. Irregular breathing, unusual restlessness, or periods of very still sleep can all indicate developing problems. Emergency preparedness. Despite best prevention efforts, emergencies can still occur. Having a plan in place can mean the difference between life and death. Bedroom emergency supplies should include a working phone, emergency contact list, and any rescue medications prescribed by your doctor. Keep these within easy reach of your bed. Family member training ensures that someone knows how to respond if they find you unresponsive. Basic CPR training and knowledge of when to call 911 can save precious minutes. Medical alert systems can automatically summon help if you become unconscious during sleep. Modern systems can detect falls, prolonged inactivity, and even some types of medical emergencies. Working with healthcare providers. This is often the most challenging aspect of prevention because many healthcare providers are unaware of these risks or resistant to changing established medication protocols. Here's how to effectively advocate for yourself. Prepare for appointments by bringing specific information about early morning death risks and medication interactions. Don't just ask general questions. Present specific research and request specific responses about your individual risk factors. Request second opinions from sleep medicine specialists or geriatric pharmacists who may be more knowledgeable about these risks than general practitioners. These specialists often have better understanding of medication interactions and alternative treatment approaches. Document everything in writing. Keep detailed records of your medications, symptoms, and any discussions with healthcare providers about these risks. This documentation can be crucial if you need to file complaints or seek legal recourse. Long-term lifestyle modifications. Prevention isn't just about managing medications. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports healthy sleep and reduces overall risk. Regular exercise, particularly in the morning and afternoon, can improve circulation and reduce the need for sleep medications. Even gentle activities like walking or stretching can make a significant difference. Dietary modifications can help reduce blood viscosity and improve overall cardiovascular health. Staying well hydrated, limiting alcohol, and eating foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids can all help maintain healthy blood flow during sleep. Stress management through meditation, prayer, or other relaxation techniques can improve sleep quality naturally and reduce the need for medication. Chronic stress contributes to many of the physiological changes that increase early morning death risk. As we reach the end of this crucial discussion, I want you to understand that the information I've shared isn't just medical theory. It's a matter of life and death. Every night, seniors across America are going to bed not knowing that their medications and health routines are putting them at risk for preventable death. The medical establishment has failed seniors by keeping this information hidden. They've prioritized profits over patient safety, convenience over comprehensive care, and maintaining the status quo over saving lives. But now that you know the truth, you have the power to protect yourself and your loved ones. This isn't about living in fear. It's about living with knowledge. Fear would be going to bed tonight not knowing about these risks. Knowledge is understanding exactly what's happening and taking specific steps to prevent it. The seniors who are dying in their sleep aren't dying because death is inevitable. They're dying because crucial information has been withheld from them. I want to be absolutely clear about the urgency of this situation. If you're over 60 and taking medications that affect your central nervous system, cardiovascular system, or respiratory system, you could be at risk tonight. If you have a loved one in this situation, they could be at risk tonight. This isn't something to address eventually. It's something to address immediately. The first step is to have an honest conversation with your healthcare provider about these risks. Don't be intimidated if they seem dismissive or claim they've never heard of this issue. Many healthcare providers are genuinely unaware of these risks because the information has been systematically suppressed. Show them the research, ask specific questions, and demand specific answers about your individual risk factors. If your current healthcare provider is unwilling to take these concerns seriously, find one who will. Your life is too important to entrust to someone who dismisses legitimate safety concerns. Seek out sleep medicine specialists, geriatric pharmacologists, or other professionals who understand the complex interactions between aging physiology and medication effects. And remember that you have the right to refuse any medication or treatment that puts you at unnecessary risk. You have the right to request safer alternatives. You have the right to ask for detailed explanations of risks and benefits. And you have the right to seek second opinions when you're not satisfied with the answers you receive. But, most importantly, you have the right to know the truth about your health risks. The medical establishment has tried to keep this information hidden, but they can't silence all of us. By watching this video, by sharing this information, and by demanding better care, you're part of a movement to expose these hidden dangers and save lives. The seniors who have died from preventable early morning deaths can't speak for themselves anymore, but their families can speak for them. Their stories can educate others, and their deaths can serve as a warning to prevent similar tragedies in the future. If this information has opened your eyes to risks you didn't know existed, please share this video with every senior you know. Post it on social media, send it to your family members, discuss it with your friends. The only way to overcome the medical establishment's silence is to break that silence ourselves. In the comments below, please share your experiences. Have you or a loved one experienced unexplained sleep problems? early morning symptoms, or close calls that now make sense in light of this information? Have you had difficulty getting healthcare providers to take your concerns seriously? Your experiences could help save someone else's life. And please, don't wait to take action. Every night that passes without addressing these risks is a night that you or someone you love could become another statistic. The time to act is now, while you still have the opportunity to make life-saving changes. Subscribe to this channel for more life-saving information that the medical establishment doesn't want you to know. Hit the notification bell so you never miss crucial health updates. And remember, knowledge is power, but only when it's acted upon. Your life is precious, your health is important, and you deserve to know the truth about the risks you face and how to protect yourself from them. Don't let the medical establishment's silence become your family's tragedy. Take control of your health destiny starting tonight. Sleep well, but sleep safely. And remember, the truth they've been hiding from you could be the key to many more peaceful mornings ahead.